Good morning, Facebook friends. Helen Archontou here, CEO of the YWCA of Northern New Jersey. So happy to have some time with you today on this Tuesday morning. As you know, YWTV is all about educating and inspiring you on all kinds of wonderful stories that are linked to our mission. And so grateful to bring you another great story, great conversation today, and welcoming 4 philanthropic-minded sisters who are a force. And we are so grateful to have them with us. They are the owners of Challah Back Girls. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about them before we jump into the conversation. And we have joining us today Sara, Marni, Hannah, and Eliana. So welcome, ladies.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
I love how melodically you said that in unison. Wonderful. So for our viewers that are meeting these wonderful women for the first time, they are sisters, and they obviously are, we're going to tell you a little bit about what happens when 4 philanthropic-minded sisters who were either forced to homeschool and be around more during over this year, or had a change in their work schedule, and they were hanging out in their kitchen together. What happens? What happens is they create challah bread, of course, and from that they created an empire, which we're going to talk about today. So it's very, very exciting. So they did create their business during the time of COVID. And they started, and they'll tell us a little bit more about that, but it was born out of baking for frontline healthcare workers during this time. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about their background. Sara. So Sara waved to us, so we know. There's Sara. Okay, Sara is the Chief Marketing and Production Officer, and she oversees and implements all of the marketing and communication strategies and production. She graduated from SUNY Binghamton in 2015 with a BS in Human Development. And as social media and communication expert, she loves to curate meaningful content to highlight across all of their platforms. And next we have Marni, and there's Marni. We see her. She's in her own box there. She is Challah Back Girls' Chief Education, Content, and Chief Editor. She graduated from Wesleyan University in 2019, where she majored in anthropology and minored in religious studies. Upon graduation, she participated in the Advoda Justice Fellowship in Washington, D.C., where she worked with individuals experiencing chronic homelessness at Everyone's Home, D.C. For that year. Her commitment to equity and improving the quality of life for those around her and is really motivated out of causes that came out of her work with her Jewish community. So welcome, Marni. And then we also have Hannah, who is the Chief Operating Officer, who oversees daily operations, including the baking process, the inventory, baking systems and management, the engagement with other organizations, and ensures that the group is meeting their goals. She graduated from SUNY Binghamton also in spring of 2020 amid the quarantine craziness, and began her master's in social work. I'm a social worker, Rutgers, and I have my degree from Rutgers too, in fall of 2020. During her 3 years in undergrad, she studied human development with a minor in Israeli studies. And last but not least, we have Eliana, who is the Chief Quality and Improvement Officer. She is also a junior at, now it says SAR High School. What's SAR?
SAR.
SAR. Okay, so it's SAR High School. I didn't know if SAR stood for something.
It's an abbreviation.
I figured. And she is, and the team's volleyball, it says the team's volleyball team's co-captain. She braids challah bread between her prep for college admissions testing and reading and singing and piano and so much more. Eliana's thought partnership and unique Gen Z perspective allows for the team to see initiatives and organizations through a different lens. So, ladies, how accomplished you all are. This is so impressive. And I have to share with our viewers, I learned about their work and what they were doing through the connection of them working along with Commissioner Tracy Zur, and a post that she had done, and then doing my own little interested research in their project. And I thought it was a great opportunity to be able to bring the great work that they're doing and really just be inspired by these 4 young women who have, really taken a difficult time and, turned it into something really meaningful. And I think that that's really impressive and a story that is wonderful. They're wonderful models for other young people and all female entrepreneurs, quite frankly. It doesn't really matter about the age, that, you can have a dream and see it through to reality, because clearly that's what these ladies have done. So with that, how did this start?
Oh my God. So it really began a year ago in March, when I came home for what I thought would just be a spring break that turned into an end of semester homeschooling. And I came home, and I've always kind of been the token baker of the family. And so when I've been able to come home, I like to bake challah. I was always the dessert kid, who liked to make desserts for the Sabbath, or, just to have during the week. And so when I came home, I baked some challah, and we had it for the Sabbath. And that was kind of just a weekend enjoyment. And then news broke out about COVID and the pandemic we were seeing surges of cases globally. And initially we didn't think so much of it, just because of the unknown nature and the uncertainty. And so I figured I made some bread when I came home, and I'll go back to school and I'll make it again when I come back. But ultimately that turned into being home for the rest of the semester. And my sister started to help out in the kitchen, and ultimately Sara came home. She was living in Manhattan. She came home when cases rose, and Marni came home. And so it was the 4 of us all together again.
For the first time in a long time. I mean, since before I was in college, because I went, and then we all haven't been home, especially as young adults, since. So that made the challah, at least for me, even more special, because we were all together again in a dark, weird, unknown time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's amazing. And so you started making challah together, as you were, all holed up, trying to stay safe. And what did you start doing with it? I mean, I know it kind of, you've evolved a bit over this time. So where did you start with that?
Yeah.
So
go for it, Marn.
No, our family's recipe actually is one that is kind of infamous in our community. We're a part of a chavurah, which is a small group of friends from our synagogue community that kind of treat each other like family, and all the parents were involved in raising everyone else and taking care of everyone else. And so we have these monthly dinners together, and my mom's challah recipe and the recipe that we had in our house was kind of highly regarded as Karen's challah. And so people loved it, and Hannah had put her incredible spin on it too. And as we started baking, we were noticing there was a lot of demand for it. Our mother, who works in the medical care work, doing patient-centered care, is a social worker, was working in emergency rooms, works with ER docs, trains residents and doctors on bedside manner and the human element of medical care. She also had connections with ER docs who were being boarded up from their families for Shabbat, and the volunteer ambulance corps. We have family friends who were volunteers in the TVAC, in the TNEC ambulance corps. And so there was kind of need in the community to step up and contribute in different ways. We were doing potluck. There were potlucks, communal potlucks for those in the corps, and ways to get food to ER docs who were boarded up. So we started giving the challah there. And then kind of demand grew as we were, making more challah, contributing to folks in the community for the various COVID demanding causes. And people wanted challah, and they wanted to buy challah. They were like, oh, there's a lot of challah coming out of the Loftman household right now. I want some. But we didn't feel super comfortable selling the challah for profit purposes. And I'll pass it over to one of my sisters to continue talking about what happened next.
I do want to give Marni a shout out for while we were all very much in the zone challah-wise, Marni stepped up with her sourdough game, and we, I mean, it was about April.
I fed the family with some sourdough bread, and they were feeding everyone else with the delicious.
And sourdough really was the like
the
it
trend.
really defined and the trend, right, of the time. So you expanded your game for sure. It sounds like then you broadened.
For sure. And I joke that at the end of all of this, or maybe about now, I feel like now's a good time. I think I want to just give the world either a Team Challah shirt or a Team Sourdough shirt, just that people can feel connected to some kind of bread trend during this time, because it was so unknown and that was really circulating in such a positive way.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think jumping off of Marni's point about kind of offering the challah just as a gesture of kindness, and because we are privileged to have had the capacity to do so, that we do come from a long history of within our family of hospitality and warmth and inclusivity. And so it's something as Jewish people and as individuals, we really value the notion of community, and in what ways can we show up for our community, for all communities within our community. And so this was a place where we were really able to do that.
Yeah. And we went at the end of May, when the murder of George Floyd happened, and the four of us attended the protest in Teaneck. In the beginning of June, we started to put some of these pieces together about the notion of community and how we can step up for other groups, especially the Black and Brown community. And we were also learning about different organizations that were helping to, their mission was to promote social justice and advance equity. And we were learning about that. People wanted challah. Then our dad started singing Gwen Stefani's Challah Back Girl, and we were having all sorts of conversations about where this could lead to.
Yeah.
And so.
Yeah, and even the beginning of the pandemic offered a moment of soul searching, and kind of as the world reckoned with what was happening nationally and globally, we also were having moments of kind of self-reflection and self-awareness of our social positions, where we fall into society, in what ways can we show up for different communities that are not from kind of our insular Jewish community, and even within the Jewish community, the diversity within our own place. And so all of these pieces were coming together, and there was just an overall renewed wave of anti-racist education and opportunities and real action.
Yeah, I think it's amazing how you've intertwined this, family recipe, if you will, and then connected it to social justice. And obviously, as you know, the YWCA, this is, deep in the roots of the work that we do, which is also there were so many pieces of your story that intrigued me. But that was clearly another aspect of it, the fact that not only that you are for women and for, young women that have, really stepped into, the space of being entrepreneurs, and now, run a small business, with the work that you're doing. But in addition to that you did another, really important piece of connecting it to your social justice values, and are using your business to amplify those. We recently had our Women's Leadership Conference and had a conversation with Rachel Antonoff, who's a fashion designer who, was from your area as well. And, we talked a lot about connecting her business and her social justice values, and, how that unfolded. And it also unfolded for her very young as well, just similar to your stories. So I love, I love hearing it. So tell us where Challah Back Girls are today. What's going on with the whole entity? What does it look like today?
We're gonna let Eliana take this on.
What does it look like, Eliana? What do you see?
It's much bigger than we imagined.
basically, we have donated to 15 organizations. We've baked over 5,000 loaves of bread. Yeah. We've donated over $75,000 to these different grassroots organizations. And we've had over 4,000 orders placed, which is, I mean, unimaginable for me. I did not, as a high schooler, I did not imagine something like this coming out of a small social justice initiative. Quarantine passion project. So,
turned organization.
Yeah. Yeah, and we're baking a lot. We each have full-time jobs or school or both. And so we're trying to manage our time and communicate in our space. We're hoping to move into a larger kitchen space because we didn't anticipate baking from our home kitchen for over a year as much as we have been. So we definitely need to meet the demand and capacity and take care of our hearts and souls too in a larger kitchen space. But you really go with the numbers, but my most exciting fact is that we've sent Challah to over all 50 states in America. And that is so fun to me because I love to travel and I love going to all places all the time and haven't been obviously in the last year. And so watching our Challah float away to Alaska has been really cute.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So, for those that are watching today that want to get connected to you and your challah bread, because it sounds like, and I have to say I haven't had the opportunity to taste it yet, but I'm very much looking forward to getting some. What's the process for someone who wants to support your initiative because they want really good challah bread and they love what you stand for?
Yeah, absolutely. So our website is the best way to go about ordering challah. So it's www.challahbackgirls.org. And there will be an option for order now. And it'll take you to a menu where you can choose from our now 5 flavors. We just updated and added a new flavor beginning in May, a za'atar flavor, which is kind of this Middle Eastern blend. Alongside plain and everything but the bagel and chocolate chip and coffee crumb. And it ships right to your door and we ship nationwide. Each box is packaged with love and care. And we like to say we go from oven to table. So it quite literally comes out of the oven, cools enough to be packaged so the moisture holds. And we put it in your box and off it goes.
And we're very much in communication with everybody who orders as much as possible. We send updates about which week you're scheduled for your challah to arrive. And once your challah is baked, freshly baked and shipped, we email you again and also have like a UPS notification system that will update you in that regard too.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I can't, I can't speak for our viewers, but I'm pretty confident that they're all looking at these pictures of the challah and hearing about your, variety and, are contemplating placing an order as soon as this broadcast ends, as I am. It's really so impressive. For those of you watching, we have the links here in the comments so that you can check out the work of Challah Back Girls and how you can place an order, and you also can follow them on social media. Clearly, you've got that covered by one of your teams. So tell us a little bit about your social media strategy and how you do your marketing and outreach for your work.
Well, first and foremost, it's really nice connecting with so many different kinds of people on social media. There are a lot of people, older, younger, everything in between, people in school, as an adult, people in school, as a younger person, just all kinds of people that feel connected to the organization that we're donating to, the challah that's on our table. They're sending us pictures, or just have questions about one of us and the process. And so social media has really become a place of connection. Also, side note, if we're ever sold out, which happens, especially as we're still using our home kitchen, just email us or DM us on social media because it's a way to connect and hear about the process. And I have all my sisters help with social media at all and any points. We're always sending each other either quotes or something we learned that day or that week, something impactful to us, something that we feel, oh, this person in Arkansas emailed us a question of this quote or this story that we saw on social media fits that, and we should maybe curate something that speaks to that kind of story or that kind of community. But we really, I'll let Hannah speak to it too, because she's really been an amazing support through all this.
We've really been able to, all of the organizations that we partner with, a huge piece of our mission is kind of this redirection of attention to the organizations that are leading this work. And so each month that we've partnered with an organization, we're able to offer a social media post, and we create it alongside the organization, sharing information about them, about their impact, about their mission, about resources that they are offering, about their services, about their advocacy. The list goes on. And so being able to share out the things that these organizations, agencies, and people are doing is inspiration to us. And our hope is that for our followers, it's inspirational to them as well. And so for all of us to kind of join together in an effort to dismantle the oppressive systems that we have in our society through the power of food and ritual and compassion.
I think at a time where people have been feeling so isolated over the last year plus, connecting on social media and reading the posts, especially recently, the organizations that we've partnered with, it has become such a platform for our Challah Back squad, that we like to call them, to read about the organization, because otherwise I know I wouldn't have learned half as much a year ago as I have today through that.
Well, that's amazing. And it's wonderful that you're, again, not only that you've created this entire, entity and this initiative, but that you've connected it to the social justice values, and that you're using it as a way to amplify messages for organizations doing this work, because we know that, similar to those that many of us support in terms of trying to work to represent and amplify, that sometimes this work doesn't get the attention that it deserves. So it's wonderful to have a group like yours that's helping push that out. So Eliana, tell us a little bit. I love to hear, let me hear about the Gen Z perspective. What do you think that, in particular, that you're able to bring to this, collaboration that you have with your sisters? I love that, at your age, that you're so, deeply and heavily involved in every aspect of this. And again, I think there's so many of your age mates out there that probably have ideas and interests, but don't always think that it's something that they can do at this point in their lives. And I love that you're showing them that they can.
Yeah, I think that it's definitely important for, high schoolers to be involved in this mission or this important work. And I think that, love my sisters, but they are a little older. So they don't really, the world is changing. So I think that each generation kind of just brings a more modern or new way to look at, anti-Black racism and so many more movements. And, especially with social media, like kids my age, they use it all the time. They're always on it. And I think that, with posts and just like aesthetics or the content, the way you want to word things and how you want to put it out there, I think that it has to speak to all these different age groups.
So 2 important questions here now. One, how do you handle disputes amongst the sisters? Does the family dynamic play into the business dynamic of your business? How do you work those through? When do your parents get called to help?
I'm just gonna go get our mom.
I think, we all have our strengths and weaknesses, and we all contribute different skills and information to the table. So I think there's not so much argument
We were once
and disputes, but
we were once asked, what is like the best piece of business advice working with your family? And one of the things that we said was just the importance of communication. And people don't realize enough how valuable being vulnerable and honest and transparent is. And that goes for in your professional life and in your personal life. And so we've definitely learned that as sisters over the past year. To Eliana's point, we each bring something different to the table, and some of us are a little stronger in how we bring it to the table than others. And so kind of meeting each other where we're at and being able to really listen and continue to learn from one another.
That's wonderful. And then my next question is, so have you talked to Gwen Stefani? Does she know what you're doing? Have you, through social media, have you connected with her?
No, we unfortunately not yet. I don't want to rule it out, because every time someone posts something about us and tag Gwen Stefani, it's another effort. We were recently on a show, and they made some connection with Blake, and so maybe I'll have to follow up with them. Maybe one day. I mean, we've been listening to her forever, for decades, so it would be amazing.
Yeah, I feel like you guys need to send her some challah. I think that's so real. I think you need to find her and send her some challah. Well, I can't say enough how impressed I am with what you've pulled together. And honestly, your age is almost just a byproduct of the whole thing. Just what you've done is impressive unto its own. But the fact that, again, I love that you're just being such a strong model for women entrepreneurs and young women entrepreneurs, and that you're really aligning your values and your business together to be able to be impactful. And again, for our viewers, YWTV is, again, all about you being part of the conversation and helping here. And you can do that by, now you've heard about these ladies and the great work that they're doing, tell somebody. And you can do that by copying the link to this broadcast and texting it to someone, putting it in your messenger to someone specific, or sharing it to your Facebook page. It's a wonderful opportunity. We know that people are always looking for ways to support social justice initiatives, and this is an easy lift, because not only are you supporting a great initiative, but you're also getting some great challah bread out of it too. And I can't imagine a better win-win there. So, ladies, as we close out, tell me what's next on the horizon for what do you see as the next phase, the next chapter? Obviously, you said you want a bigger kitchen space so that you can do more.
Yeah, we definitely want a bigger kitchen space. I think that's first and foremost, because we're really blessed at how many people have supported us so far and supported the mission. And so the demand is really high. And we wish we could share a call with everyone who wanted and who wants to learn about the organization that we're supporting at that time, alongside eating deliciousness. But we need a bigger kitchen in order to do that. So we're hoping to get our ducks in a row for that.
All right.
And have some help, maybe.
And members, yeah.
I think looking for donors and trying to find partnerships and trying to think, okay, how do we launch this as this kind of initiative has unfolded and unrolled and gained speed and attention beyond us, and it's just we're like, okay, next step in terms of making it more official or having the right kind of revenue streams in space to support the initiative so that we can keep donating full funds to the organizations that we're supporting each month, and so that we can sustain ourselves and balance the whole initiative and the labor that gets put into it. And so, finding partnerships, thinking about becoming an official nonprofit or something like that, or, moving into a real space that's not our home, and getting to speak to the question of family, profession boundaries of getting that space so that we can have our home be the home and a space for Challah Back Girls to really thrive.
Well, you put a lot out there. So for our viewers, if you have any thoughts too, you know how to connect with them on social media. Yes, exactly. I love that. Definitely reach out to them. So I can't tell you enough how proud and excited I am for you and the work that you're doing. And I also just want to say a plug. Do you want to talk a little bit about the other initiative that the YW and Challah Back Girls are connected to in TNEC?
Yeah, absolutely. So TNEC has a women's group that has started something called Tea Talks. And the theme for these Tea Talks, which are discussions, is bridging the racial divide. And so I have had the privilege of being a part of some of the planning of these conversations. And I think that the biggest takeaway for both of our work would be to share that we are all capable of having uncomfortable conversations. It's just a matter of doing it. And so if we're able to be at a table or be in a space with people who don't look like us, who don't practice like us, who don't believe in similar things as we do, or just have differing worldviews, then, and that's the beauty of humanity and of our interactions with one another. And so I love that connection that we have. And my hope is that people can feel inspired by that connection and by more discussions around bridging the racial divide, and be able to bring that to their own tables and have their own tea talks.
Yes, I have to say I got to participate in it as well. Our mission impact coordinator who focuses on racial justice, Jessica, has been key and part of the planning committee of this, amazing group that has kind of gotten together and launched this effort. And I honestly think it's something that should be modeled in every community as well. And, looking forward to continuing to see it through and see how we can, pilot it and then pitch it to others so that they can model as well. Because it's another great initiative for sure.
Absolutely.
So with that, folks, thank you all for joining us today. Again, we hope that you share this conversation, whether it's just that you integrate it into one that you're having with someone when you make a phone call or send a text later, or whether you actually take the entire broadcast today and share it with someone in your life. But I do encourage you to support the work that the Challah Back girls here are doing. Because, again, supporting them is, really stepping up and making a statement of support for so many important social justice issues that I know the YWCA of Northern New Jersey agrees and believes in as well. With that, I do hope, for those of you that have not yet, that you do take this opportunity. We're going to put the link here in the comments to you. On Thursday, May 20th, the YWCA of Northern New Jersey is co-sponsoring with Challah Back, the organization, a stand up against street harassment bystander intervention training. It's 1 hour of your life, but that 1 hour can actually save a life if you participate in it. Through that virtual training, you will be able to get actual strategies and tools so that you can safely intervene if you see some racist act, if you see some incident of gender violence, a way that you can jump in and be a part of a solution and part of a support. So we do encourage you to sign up for that. Again, the link will be here for you. It is this Thursday, May 20th from 3 to 4 p.m. I always encourage everyone to sign up for a 21-day Racial Equity and Social Justice Challenge. I think some of you ladies might have been, might have done it as well. It's a great opportunity to just get an email in your box to help create a baseline understanding for you to, create a platform for your social justice work. It takes us all to work together and all using whatever talents we have, whether it's making challah or others, but together, shoulder to shoulder, we will make an impact on these issues. And I'm so grateful that we have these four ladies as part of, part of the Army as we march forward to do that. And they're bringing challah bread for the walk, so why not? All right, everyone, we wish you a wonderful day and much success continued with Challah Back Girls. I'm already following you now on social media, so I'm looking forward to seeing everything going on.
Thank you, Helen, for having us. This was really beautiful.
And thank you for all the important work that you are doing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm happy that we're doing it together for sure. Happy to be doing it together. Everyone have a great day. Be well. Bye-bye.
Take care.